Greetings, citizens, and thanks for tuning in to Nindie Nation. I'm Jeff, and today on episode 127, we're taking a look at every indie game hitting the Nintendo Switch through the week ending December 5th. You can find us on Twitter, chat with us on Discord, or check out some of the week's releases with us right here on YouTube every Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern during our Nindies at Night stream. Before we get to the new releases, though, you know how we do. We need to take a look at the games that released since last time we talked. So to kick off episode 127 of Nindie Nation, let's get started with the neglected Nindie, plus some garbage, that released since episode 126. Forever Entertainment slid one in at the last minute last week with Armored to the Gears for $11.99. This mech-based twin-stick shooter by Volcanic reminds me a lot of Tesla Force, but I can't tell if this is a roguelike or if it just features RPG elements. Not now, children. I'm not sure that $12 is justified, but I like what I'm seeing, so maybe we'll check this one out during Nindies at Night. Now, other than that one, a few more games released, but Road Z Survival: The Last Winter is what happens when Game Mavericks sees Ice Station Z from last week's episode and says, "Me too," while removing the multiplayer elements and anything else that made it look fun. Crazy Trucks is what happens when Prison Games and Marionette Games say,
"Let's make a monster truck party game where the tires are donuts."
And then they just kinda run out of ideas. One Summer Festival is what happens when
Satbox
remembers how well Carnival Games sold for the Wii, and then they put in even less effort. Astro Rangers is what happens when Gametry asks how little of a budget they can use to make a generic arena shooter, and then cuts that budget in half. My First Last Kiss is what happens when Voltage fantasizes about anime boy bands. Oh, and PixArts showed up last week, been a while for them. After an epic post-Thanksgiving bathroom break, they clogged the toilet, scooped out said clog, molded it to look like a space shooter, and called it Aliens Strike. Good job, team. You interested in Armored to the Gears? If so, let me know in the comments. And if you're interested in any of those other games, keep it to yourself. We don't need that kind of energy around here. Now, for the week ahead, these are the 11 new releases hitting the Nintendo Switch through Sunday, December 5th. On Monday, November 29th, Top Hat Studios releases a 2D action RPG called Guardian of Lore for $13.99. I can't tell if I like this game or not. There's definitely an air of cheap artwork going on, but it does have its moments. It's all about uncovering ancient civilization magic and combining that with combat as you platform across levels that tell a story based on the trinkets you find within. I don't know. I'd have to play this one to really be able to weigh in on it. Tank de la Muerta, or Tank of the Dead if high school Spanish serves me right, releases on Tuesday the 30th and is a choose-your-own-adventure visual novel about a zombie in love? It comes to us by way of Nuno Vicente Barreto, costs $4.99, and does not look very good. Mind Scanners looks pretty cool, though. It's by Brave at Night, who last released Yes, Your Grace, and is an arcade-style puzzle game where you put all kinds of dystopian metropolis characters through a psychiatry evaluation using little mini-game things and, of course, your own noggin. Getting vibes here like Papers, Please, and that's a good thing. I'm initially put off by the $15 price tag, and frankly think that's probably gonna seal this game's fate, unfortunately. But maybe we could try it out on Nindies at Night and see if it's worth shining a spotlight on. The big Thursday drop this week is pretty, well, big, but it's also chock full of garbage. So let's talk about the intriguing titles first. The eShop kicks off December on Thursday the 2nd with Arch Veil, and it's a tricky one. Visually, it could be any of the dozens or so of twin-stick bullet hell shooters out there, but it seems to sit somewhere between Enter the Gungeon and Manaspark. Gameplay-wise, it isn't a roguelike, but a dungeon-crawling action RPG, and I think that structure is where it could be interesting. There's a robust weapon crafting system that's fueled by the loot you find, as well as a lot of character and build customization to boot. I have some faith in it because Humble Games has become quite the household name for quality indies, and the developer logs from Nindie newcomers IDOS and FOPS show a duo that is proud of their work. Again, I'm hesitant with its $15 asking price, but we might have to give Archvale a shot. Another newcomer to the eShop is AOE Plus, and this week they released the puzzle platformer Monobot for $11.69. I dig the lonesome sci-fi vibe here, where you play as a little robot on an adventure to escape a world where every robot is like 10 times its size. The visuals are really nice, if not a bit generic, and the physics-driven puzzles look like a good time. It feels inspired by Oddworld, and the premise of a cute little robot escaping a massive evil facility is certainly endearing. What do you think of Monobot? Taking the crown for indie release this week that initially looked lame but is now occupying a massive space in my mind palace comes by way of yet another newcomer as Castle on the Coast launches for $13.49 by Big Heart Productions and Clubator. So, it's a 3D mascot platformer that's super heavily focused on parkour, and you play as a giraffe named George. I swear the shit I say on this show sometimes, you know? It's an authentic homage to 3D collectathons, so you'll be exploring large, colorful worlds as said giraffe or his flying squirrel friend named Swirls, and it features 2-player co-op that's positioned as a good fit for kids. So I'd imagine it's one of those easy to progress through the story but tougher to collect everything kind of things. The visuals are pretty interesting too. It's somewhat cel-shaded with chonky polygons and vibrant colors, and at first glance I didn't like it, but the more I saw it in motion, the more it grew on me. Plus, the parkour does look really fun and totally ridiculous. I'd have to play this one too before recommending it because everything hinges on how it actually feels to play. Keep your eyes on this one because if you like those throwback collectathons, I mean, it's not like there's much competition for a backflipping giraffe, you know? And then
Gag X,
whose name I'm really having to hold back inappropriate jokes for, ports their award-winning smartphone adventure game The Kids We Were for $12.79. Using a voxel art style similar to The Tourist, The Kids We Were is set in the 1980s and centers around Monado.
We have the Monado. The Monado. The Monado. The Monado. Monado. The Monado.
No, not that Monado. A young boy on a quest to find his father in a sleepy Japanese suburb. He's found a notebook with mysteries to solve and, with your help, will track down his dad through this narrative-focused game. This one's not for me, but it could be a fit for adventure game fans looking for something a bit different in both premise and aesthetic.
Monado, boy.
I hate to do this, but I did warn you that we had some serious garbo to trudge through this week, so before we touch on the titles that round out today's episode, let's get this over with. Jigsaw Fun by
Mindscape,
might not be a bad version of digital jigsaw puzzles, but I would argue that there is no version of digital jigsaw puzzles that are, especially for $15. World Quiz happens this week for $10. Here's a free preview from your friends at Nindie Nation.
Where can you find a pile of games so large it makes the mountain of dinosaur poop from Jurassic Park look like an anthill?
If you answered, the headquarters of Funbox Media,
You win. Perfect.
but then while looking at lazy mobile ports on the eShop, Thalamus Digital was like,
hold my beer.
and ported a word game called Word Forward. It does feature the ability to use bombs, but unless I can use them on Thalamus Digital's eShop account, I'm not that interested. And CFK, which stands for Chicken Fried Cack, somehow managed to make a horny anime game out of a, quote, snack shop with Miracle Snack Shop for $20. I'm not sure if those who are interested in this one have much of a sweet tooth, but they sure are thirsty as East Asia Soft and Zoo Corporation have really outdone themselves this time, as they took their borderline porno Mahjong series and released it twice on the same day with Pretty Girls Mahjong Solitaire Blue and Green for $6 each. It's like Pokemon, but for 12-year-old boys living in their grandma's basement. That one is definitely getting me a couple of dislikes. Then Pixel Mob, Boombit, or whatever they call themselves this week, swapped Streets and Cars for Dirts and Trucks with Construction Site Driver, which is an excellent pick if the only other option is Snorting Monkey Diarrhea. And finally, as you know, no eShop update is complete without something so bad it should be illegal. And, well, in the competition for the biggest waste of brain cells I've seen yet, InLogic Software and Silesia Games have really stepped up to the plate with Football Battle. This is, who would ever, because how do I describe this? Oh, I know! Okay, I don't know what to say about this series, but a lot of you like it, so we're just gonna cover them all at once. I don't think we can consider Spike Chunsoft an indie studio, but we have covered their releases in the past, and they are on a lot of other indie channels, so whatever. The Danganronpa series is a bizarre but beloved murder mystery where a psychotic bear traps a bunch of honor students in their high school and challenges them to kill each other and get away with it. This week, in celebration of the original title's 10th anniversary, the whole kit and caboodle finally makes its way to the Switch with the anniversary editions of Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc and Danganronpa 2 Goodbye Despair for $13.49 each, plus Danganronpa V3 Killing Harmony for $26.99. If that's not enough, you also get the brand new Danganronpa S Ultimate Summer Camp for $17.99, which, as far as I can tell, looks like a cross between a dungeon-crawling RPG and Mario Party, but with tons of half-naked minors and a healthy dose of murder. There's a lot of people that love this series and its twisted take on the visual novel, so if you've ever considered picking them up in the past or you're ready to dive back in, check out the anniversary releases, which come complete with added content to celebrate the series' history. And if I completely failed at explaining the series, or you just want to tell people why they should pick these up, sound off in the comments below. On Friday, December 3rd, we see the debut of Polish newcomer Polyamorous with their first-person narrative mystery, Paradise Lost, which launches with a 40% discount for $8.99. Already garnering very positive reviews after a successful launch last year on Steam, Paradise Lost follows a 12-year-old boy growing up in an alternate history Poland where, during World War II, the Nazis done blew everything up. It's built to be a slower, more engaging story and has no fail state so it can be played by anyone, but make no mistake that this story is very mature. You know, Red Deer Games sure have been pumping out the Nindies recently, haven't they? Where did that come from? This week, they release Detective D, The Silk Rose Murders for $12.99, and this pixel art point-and-click murder mystery seems pretty cool. You play as a detective assisting the Empress of China during the Tang Dynasty, so you'll be exploring crime scenes and hunting for clues to find the killer, and the game mixes retro-inspired storytelling with historical influence. Look at that art. That's a really cool way to do the genre, isn't it? And Ratalaika does what they do best this week, rounding out the new releases with a retro-styled action platformer with Six Souls for $7.99. Developed by Bug Studio, Six Souls combines all kinds of gameplay into 80 levels that look like a really good time. You've got air dashing through spike-ridden areas a la Celeste, gigantic boss fights, a bunch of secrets to find, and you can play as Jack or his faithful dog Butch. Might have to put this one on Nindies at night, too. It's short, yes, but otherwise a pretty decent list this week. Lots of titles I want to check out with Armored to the Gears, Archvale, Mind Scanners, and Six Souls, just to name a few, but let me know which new releases tickle your fancy down in the comments. As you already know, just a few days ago, I posted a stupid long list of deals for Black Friday, 86 games to be exact. And while I do love Deku deals, I think diving back in this quickly just might make my eyes bleed. So we're giving the deals a break this week, especially since half of what was covered during the Black Friday video is going strong for another few days. If you are desperate for something new and cheap though, check out Xenocrisis while it's half off for $9.99. That game is awesome, as long as you're down for getting your teeth kicked in by a brutally hard top-down shooter. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a like and subscribe for more weekly indie goodness. Even though the year is starting to wind down, the big indie releases are still going strong. Be sure to stop back by over the next couple weeks because we've got Loop Hero, Asteroids Recharged, Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon, and One Hand Clapping? That can't be what first came to mind, can it? Anyways, there's a lot of great stuff coming in December, but for now, we're all done for today. Thanks so much for stopping by. I'm Jeff. This has been Nindie Nation episode 127. And remember, no matter what type of game you're looking for, Nindie Nation will be right here to help you find just the thing to keep your Joy-Cons synced.